Hello, church. Again, so good to be with you today. I hope you caught Ryan yesterday as he wrapped up the Daniel series post-camp and just how good that series was and what a great job he and Janice and Jason all did with that. So we find ourselves in a bit of a longer text than we did last week. Last week, we just did one verse, which is unusual for me. But this is a little bit of a longer text, but we can go from this conversation about husbands and wives and how you should treat one another to this comment about what I think is the fact that holiness is it's not an impulsive type of thing. It's just not. You just can't do a holiness in an impulsive way. So I say that to set the stage for this, verse 8. Finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Man, if we could just do that, if we could just do those things. First of all, it's almost impossible to be like-minded with people these days, which is why I talk about the unity in Christ, that we are one around Christ. But man, to love one another, to be sympathetic, be compassionate and humble. Verse 9, do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing. Gosh, again, this is sound advice for a world that is so broken, so bent on hurting other people, that you would not repay evil with evil or insult with insult, that you could just let that flow off your back. Do you know what I'm saying? So one of the books that I have recently read talked about the nature of offense, that we're a culture that is so easily offended. That we just let everything get to us, and just learning how to put on the armor of God and protect yourself from all that crazy kind of stuff. So he goes on to say this, verse 10, for whoever would love life and see good days must keep their tongue from evil and their lips from deceitful speech. In other words, you've got to take captive every thought before it leaves your mouth, right? You know, I grew up in Texas, and they talked about how your mouth overloads your brain, and your mouth gets you in so much trouble. And it just says, keep your tongue from evil, from just speaking things that are hurtful. Then in verse 11, they must turn from evil and do good. They must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. This comes from Psalm 34. So what Peter does, so he just looks back into the Old Testament. He takes a very powerful passage about how we use our tongue and how we should be reflecting God in this world, and he puts it into play here. I think seeking peace and pursuing that, how are we doing with that? You know, I think that when I talk to people, they talk about the fact that they just don't have much peace in this world. Well, are you pursuing it? Are you just waiting for it to show up at your doorstep? I think part of what this is saying is that you must turn away from evil and do good, but you must seek and pursue peace. My life verse is Galatians 6:9. It says this, do not grow weary in doing good, for in a proper time you will reap a reward. I think this is part of what Peter's trying to say here is be consistent, be persistent, be chasing after these things. This kind of thing that we're talking about is holiness, but it can't be impulsive, right? You can't pick it off a shelf while you're checking out at Publix. You've got to know that this is all these things he describes here, this treating people well, being sympathetic, being kind to one another, not repaying insult with insult, all these kind of things. They take intentionality. They take us, you and I, to pump the brakes on our anger and pump the brakes on our need to retaliate and get revenge and all the things that we see the world struggle with right now. We're not called to that. We're called to something better and higher, right? So if we could do the first half of this text, be compassionate and be kind and think of one another, and then the second half, see that as the warning label on a bottle of poison. Do not repay evil for evil. Do not insult with insult. This is the warning, literally, on a bottle of poison. So church, this is where we're at in this culture and in this world. And part of what Peter's trying to encourage us to do is to seek those things that are good. One of the things I tell people when I visit with them in my office is, listen, I want peace for you, but you're going to have to seek it. And the only place I know it comes from is from a holy God, right? You can't impulse buy holiness. You got to be intentional every day about driving that into your heart. Church, there's a lot of teaching going on here. I hope this passage is helpful for you as you begin your week and think about what God is calling us to. We are to lead the way. If we're going to be light on a hill that repels the darkness, we got to let our light shine. I love you, church. Go shine for Jesus.